Okay, let's begin. Jai Hind, Shardul. So we started continents. So we can consider the continents. Rather, we have gone through the uh, okay. So yes, we know that approximately 70%, right? Besides obviously more than 70% and 30%. So these are the two divisions of the earth, right, into the water and the land. And this division of water can be termed as oceans. So four different oceans that you do have, and obviously this land is being further divided into altogether seven different places which are called continents, and that are what you can have: Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So these are the, according to their size, largest to the smallest, right? That's what you can have, these seven. So the land has been divided into seven different main areas which are called continents. So what exactly this continent is? So we understood that it is to be a large, continuous, discrete masses of land, sometimes separated by expanses of water. So these are generally identified by convention rather than any specific criteria. Right? So with up to seven regions, you can have commonly regarded them as continents. So as their size, as I said, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So smallest one is Australia, largest one is the Asia, and South America is the middle one, right? Of the longest, largest, and the smallest. So middle one is the South America. That's what you can have. In geology, the continents are described by means of tectonic plates, and that tectonic plates is the process, right, by which you can study the movement, collision, and division of continents, right? So it is related to the motion, right? So that is also called as continental drift. It is seen that each continent has its special shape. So some of these continents are connected while water separates others. So example I asked, that was someone said about North America and South America. There is one more that we can consider, right? I don't know how many of you have searched for that one or thought of about it. So very first one we have considered was world's largest continent, that is what Asia, containing different countries, right? We are living in this particular continent, right? And the second largest in the populace, fine, and this we are, and this continent is the largely populous, right, or the most populous in the world. So what we can consider in this? So it is the largest and most populous continent, located primarily in the eastern and northern hemisphere. It covers 8.7% of Earth's total surface and comprises 30% of the area. Around 60% of the world's current population is residing in the Asia, right? It has high growth rate in modern era. So it is being largest we can consider, and around 1/3 of total world land is being acquired by this one. And it is known for its vast size and some incomparable characters. So wall, uh, wall of China, then Taj Mahal, right? So these are the incomparable characters you can consider in this particular continent. It stretches all the way from Japan in east to the southern part, right, called Arabian Peninsula, right? So that is having around 8,500 kilometers. It encompasses, I had also asked here a question that which are the two closest. It encompasses the entire climate and expanse, be it the equatorial rainforest or the Arctic. It get to see highest and the lowest points of Earth's surface. So highest we can consider the Mount Everest, and the lowest you can consider the shore of the Dead Sea. Next one, world's second largest, Africa, and the second most populous as well. So about 30.2 million, its land, and covering 6% of total surface and 20.4% of total land area, containing the people or the population around 15%. So this is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, both the Suez Canal and the Red Sea along the Sinai Peninsula to the northeast, Indian Ocean to the southeast, and Atlantic Ocean to the west. This includes Madagascar and various archipelagos. It has 54 recognized sovereign states, 9 territories, 2 de facto countries. Those who have not identified as a full-fledged countries. Equator insect and the expanse landmass covers the Sahara, which is the world's largest desert, and the Nile, the longest river on earth. Apart from this, you come across Namib Desert, Kalahari Desert, Libyan Desert, and obviously the Sahara. Further, this is basically divided into 3 regions called Northern Plateau, Central Southern Plateau, and Eastern Highlands. Further, it includes plains, swampy coastal regions, lush tropical forest, right, and hilly plateaus inland. As far as animals, it is the home for many large mammals, which include zebras, gazelles, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, antelopes, etc., and carnivorous, right, such as lions, leopards, hinds, and panthers. You can consider. Fine. I think these two, which we have gone through. Now, the next one, you can consider the third one, that is of North America. So you can see its representation, right, how it looks on the earth, and then different countries of this one. Fine. So not that much crowdy we can consider. So North America is the third largest after Asia and Africa, right? So you can consider North America as the third largest continent by area. It is a continent wholly within the northern hemisphere. It is bordered to the north by Arctic Ocean, to the east by Atlantic Ocean, to the west and south by Pacific Ocean, and to the southeast by South America and the Caribbean Sea. Fine. So these are the, so among the 4 oceans, you will come across 3 different oceans. Fine. So only one has to be known. As far as North America is concerned, it covers area about, you can consider it as 247 lakh square kilometer, right, which is about 4.8% of the planet's surface, that is of Earth's surface, and about 16.5% of its land area. As of July 2008, its population, which was estimated, was nearly 529 million, which was resided over 23 states, representing about 7.5%, 60%, 15%, now 7.5% of the human population. Most of the continent's land area is dominated by Canada, United States, and Mexico. That means what? You can consider these are the three most largest countries of that particular continent. Similarly, whereas smaller states are also exist in the Central American and Caribbean region. Here you can see some sort of beautiful pictures, what they are. So North America is around, let's say, I saw the size. It is around twice the size of Europe, and it has irregular coastline with many prominent offshore islands, including Greenland, which is the largest island in the world. So keep in mind the Greenland and offshore islands. Right. So as far as animals are concerned, so what is this one? So North American wildlife was once abundant, but now this has drastically reduced, and that is not the case of only American continent, it is everywhere. So, but it was abundant once a while, and now people as people started inhabiting the land, the numbers have decreased. Once a while I said about this particular point that since we started cutting down, or we have cut down to a great extent the jungles, the wild animals entering to our houses, entering to our villages. So they are wandering here and there. So they have no sufficient say living area. And because of that, and that is the case worldwide. Another thing you can consider, like beautiful bird, right? And obviously some others are. So more than 1,700 species of the birds live in this continent. So 1,700 species you can consider. You know, some at some places, right, there are some shows, right. इथं आपल्याकडे जायकवाडीला पण पक्षी काय वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणून पक्षी येतात, त्याचा एक स्पेशल शो असतो, त्याचा एक स्पेशल ड्युरेशन असतं, राईट. सो आफ्टर कमिंग बॅक टू academy, you may ask sometime later to go to this particular to see this particular place, wherein probably again that should match right? ते जेव्हा येतात आणि obviously at that time you should be here, or that should be feasible. Next continent is South America. So if you consider the South America, you'll be finding out it on the planet called Earth, and this is its map, which will be showing you different kinds of countries, so including Brazil, Argentina, right, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, likewise different countries you can have in this one. So South America is a continent which is located in the Western Hemisphere, mostly in the Southern Hemisphere, with a relatively small portion in the Northern Hemisphere. आता हे तुम्ही कशावर बघू शकता? So you can go and see, right, or you can search on kind of apps wherein different hemispheres of all the 4 types of hemispheres of the Earth are being shown, and which continent or which country is falling in which of these 4 hemispheres that you can identify. And I wanted you to identify these things. It is really important. That will definitely deepen your understanding. So it is bordered on the west by Pacific Ocean, on the north and east by Atlantic Ocean. It includes 12 sovereign states as Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela, as well as 2 non-sovereign areas called French and overseas region of France, and the Falkland Islands, which is a British overseas territory. That's what we have considered American Revolution, right? If you are remembering some part. So liberation of American place. So you can have the link with these things. South America has an area of 178 lakh square meter, and population as of 2005 has been estimated at more than, now you can consider 3,710 lakhs. So that's what you can consider these things or the population. Now, what sort of nature, right, or what are the different things you can find out in this particular continent? So South America is the 4th largest continent that we have considered of the world, although it contains less than 12% of the world's population. So how much? 60, 15, 12.5, 12. Fine. Then the Andes, which is world's 2nd largest mountain range, which is seen in the America. You can consider this one, but right, as well as the 2nd largest river, called Amazon. The world's first one is Nile, and the second largest one is Amazon. So you can keep in mind these different specialities of each of these continents. Oh, see what a beautiful it is. हा पण काय प्राणी असतो का बरं दाखवायला. See how funny this one, right? Again, beautiful. Here you can see. Right? So likewise, you do have. So its land consists mainly of the animals, right, which is covered in the equatorial region. And these areas are of the wet tropical climate and have a dense rainforest. And so accordingly, you will be finding out these animals. Fine. All the so it is the home for many such exotic animals you may consider. Later on, you can consider the next, say, continent. That is called Antarctica. So you can now see the smaller, right? The size of the continent is going to small and small and smaller and smaller, and obviously at the last it would be the smallest one in comparison with the first one. So these are the countries you can see here. Obviously, Antarctica is the Earth's southernmost continent. It is containing the geographic South Pole. It is situated in the Antarctic region of the southern hemisphere. Almost entirely south of this particular is being covered by Antarctic Circle, and it is surrounded by the Southern Ocean. About 14 million square kilometers is the area of this particular continent, which is the fifth largest continent after South America. There are no permanent human residents, but anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 people reside throughout the year at the research stations scattered across the continent. Why the human residents must not be there at this particular state or sorry, at this particular continent? Anybody? Just think on. I will come back to that particular question. So only cold adapted organisms. Which are these? Different types of algae, bacteria, fungus, plants, prostitas, right, will survive in this particular environment. And that is also one of the reasons. But now do you have to tell me which one is the reason? Certain animals such as mites, nematodes, penguins, seals, and tardigrades, which are being kept by these particular people. So Antarctica continent is ice around throughout the year, and this is the reason why there you will not found the permanent residents. because its temperature is too cold. So you can keep in mind this particular question and its answer. Now, another 2 points you will come across about this particular Iceland continent. Next one is the marine life is rich, and it includes krill, jump, like organisms that is a good source for food or for large rivers of wells in the surrounding waters. Fine. Penguins. Next one is Antarctica has no trees, flowering plants, or grass. So you cannot see much plants, flowering grass as we do have, and the flowering plants and the grass. But the vegetation is limited to about 350 species, which mostly encompasses lichens, mosses, and algae. So Antarctica is a true desert. So it's extreme cold climate, making it the coldest, then windiest, and driest continent. So it is true desert because of its extreme cold climate, right? And that cold climate is making it the coldest one. That is reason. Why the people are not living there. It is also windiest and driest among all the continents. Its average temperature is around 50 degrees centigrade, minus 50 degrees centigrade, and land is swept by hurricanes and annual rainfall around 50 millimeters a year only. So with this much small amount of rainfall and with this much as low or the lowest temperature, it is very difficult to survive for a human kinds. So have gone through Antarctica. Now, second last one, that is Europe. Second last one is Europe. As far as Europe is concerned, again, you can consider which is the second smallest continent of the world, containing so many different countries. Here you do have. So it is the world's second smallest continent by the surface area, which is covering about 1018 lakh square. Sorry, it is not 1018 lakh. 101 lakhs of square kilometers. That is around 2% of the Earth's surface and 6.8% of the land area. Right. So Europe is containing these two numbers, around 6.8% of its land area. It has approximately 50 countries and is the third most populous continent after Africa, with a population of 733 million, or about 11% of the world's population. It is bordered by the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, the Mediterranean Mediterranean Sea to the south, and the Black Sea, and it is connected connected waterways to the southeast. Further, here you have the good kinds of constructions. So it is also known as Europa. This word or while this title is Europa, because Europa was a daughter of Phoenix in the Greek mythology. So you can consider another name to the Europe called Europa. And this is what you do have. What do you think about this one, and this one? Anybody? I will take a short pause at this particular point. I know most of you are knowing the answer. Only thing is that you have to tell it, or you have to agree to tell. Nobody? This particular area and this particular area. Have you seen this particular area before this? Or have you seen this particular area? What you can consider. When I asked the question about two connected continents, so don't you think that this is the Europe and this is the Asia? So here in between these three, there are some lines which are called the name, I think, Ure. Okay, it will come. I think the point is here. So Ural Mountains, Ural rivers, part of the Sea, and Caucasus Mountains that will form the mountain boundary between and found and maintained boundary between Europe and Asia. And lots of geographers also see that the two continents as at a point, as one is called a Eurasia, right? That means what? Europe, Asia. Europe, Asia. That is what? Eurasia. So what it is doing? It was accepted by a lot of geographers. You know, we had lost a deal, or what I can consider diplomatically, we have lost a deal because of that, or because of our current परराष्ट्र धोरण, त्याला काय म्हणू आपण, foreign policy. Otherwise, you could have a train from Delhi to London directly through Russia. But unfortunately, recently we had lost that particular chance because of the failed foreign policy. मी असं नाही लगेच म्हणत की लगेच 5 वर्ष 2 वर्षात झालं असतं, बट समटाइम 20 years later त्याच्यानं काय झालं असतं, you will be you could have saved a lot time in bringing the some finished products, sending some raw materials, right? Or through the point of view of business, आपला युरोप बरोबरचा व्यापार अतिशय मोठ्या प्रमाणात वाढला गेला असता. So that's what we can consider. Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you, Eurasia. So not only the two continents called North America and South America, but also Europe and Asia are connected, right? So no expanse is between these two. No water is separating these two. So they are connected. Right. So again, beautiful pictures, but I will tell you one story or one thing, right? That is that Europe has a more or less radial pattern of the drainage. So most streams are flowing outward from the what you can consider the continent. And I think the last continent, that is the Australia. So if you Australia, which is the smallest one in the in the world, containing different countries, as you can see here. So let's go to the Australia. It is the smallest of the 7 traditional continents. So smallest by it's a land acquisition over the planet called Earth. So this is a continent which is comprising mainland as Australia, Tasmania, New Guinea, Seram, Timor, right, and some neighboring islands. So the most of the continent is comprised by these mainland countries. The continent of Australia lies on a continental shelf which overlain by shallow seas, which further divides it into several land masses called the Arafura land masses by the Arafura Sea and Torres Strait between mainland Australia and New Guinea. Right. And some vast